Merhaba, Işıltılar'da bu hafta dünyaca ünlü aktör Kevin Costner'la beraberiz. Kendisiyle Türkiye izlenimleri ve hayatı hakkında konuşacağız. Dear Kevin, thank you for accepting this interview. I've been your translator, your guide, and your interviewer now. Yeah. But the main thing was to introduce you to Turkey the best way we could. That was the main idea.
Thank you for your help the last 3 days.
My pleasure.
It was you certainly understand the history of your country and city.
You have been in Istanbul right now almost 3 days and almost one day in Ankara. What surprised you most since you arrived?
I'm never. The mystery of my life is that I make movies for myself, and it always, when I come to a place that I've never been, it's always surprising to me how I'm received. And I felt like I was received so beautifully coming here to your country, and I didn't expect it, and I've been so pleased by it. So, besides the natural beauty that the country possesses, a city on the water, it's the warmth of the people, and I have certain images now in my head that I will never forget. When I was in Ankara. At the end of the day, we went up to have lunch in a very old building. And just before we went in the building, I heard clapping, a single clap. And I turned and I looked, and on a wall about 2 meters high was a young boy, about 8 years old, and he was looking right at my eye, and he was just clapping like this. And he didn't smile, but he was very, very serious. And then pretty soon others began to clap. And I thought that boy was very special. I thought he was very powerful. And so I went over and shook his hand.
Wow, he must be thrilled.
Well, I don't know if he was or not. I was moved. And then at Atatürk's tomb, when I came outside, there was a large man, big man, strong man. And just as I came out the doors, and he had I could see that he was emotional, and I was very moved by that. But this one man, there was many thousands of people, and I was able to see and shake hands and touch, and hopefully people weren't bumped too much. I tried to go very slow and wanted to be respectful. But this one big man, I think of him, I remember him.
How did you start your career?
To start my career, I had to search my soul. Because every young man, I think every young woman wonders what are they going to be in their life, and I had that same fear. What will I be? What will I become? And my hope was, my prayer, my dream, whatever one would say, would be, let me do something I love. Let my work be also my love, my passion. And so I was very lucky that happened for me.
How did it happen? Because everybody's interested to find, because you did other things before.
Yeah, I did. I was a commercial fisherman. I drove trucks. I built houses. I was a carpenter. I like to work with my hands. I'm not a very skilled worker, but I like to work outside, and I like to work all day. I just like it. So it's unusual that I like that so much, but I end up being a musician and a actor.
So somebody offered you a role, or?
Well, I worked for 7 years without money. When I decided to be an actor, I made no money, no paycheck.
What made you decide to be an actor?
I knew in my heart my soul, that I liked to perform. I knew that I liked to do that. I knew that I liked to tell stories. And so I thought, this is what I must do. When you decide to be an actor or make music, there's no guarantee you'll ever make a single dollar. There's no guarantee because it's a difficult, unusual profession, one that requires a lot of things, but also luck. And I feel like I've been lucky in my life. But for 7 years, I had no luck. I made no money, and so I was a carpenter, and I drove trucks, and I did everything. But I was happy because I knew what I wanted to be. Just because you aren't something doesn't mean you're a failure. I think a big success in life is just knowing what you want to be, because then you can work your whole life to become that.
Did you take any lessons?
I did.
Acting lessons?
Yes.
And then how about directing? Because you changed.
Directing, my first directing movie was Dances with Wolves. I'd never directed it. Yeah, I never directed a movie before, but it was a story I understood in my heart, and I understood it in my mind, and I wanted to tell that story.
Which one do you like most, acting or directing?
I don't know. Maybe directing. I don't know.
Does it give you a pleasure to be to present somebody else, like in movies? There's always.
Yes, I love it when people are happy with how they are presented in a movie, if I can be responsible for that.
But to play somebody else, does it also satisfies you? Because I did talk to another movie star that it's wonderful. She said that you could be other persons.
Yeah, I think that's the fun. It's a fun job. It's really fun,
Among your movies that I have seen, No Way Out is my favorite one. Which is your favorite one that you played? That
I can't single one out because I have enjoyed a lot of them for so many different reasons. Sometimes I think of movies because my children were born while I was making that movie. So I always have a special feeling for different movies.
You also played JFK. And then there was also a movie, the leading role was, they were asking you to play that one. But
which role?
It was in the Air Force One.
Yeah,
true
Air Force
that
One.
They offered it to
Yeah.
you and then you pass it on to Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Did you regret that?
No.
It was a very
No.
successful movie. So how about becoming next president of U.S. then? In the future, are you?
No, I could never be the president. I could, I would love to serve my country, but I think that would not be the best place for me.
You wouldn't like that?
I don't think it's the best place for me.
But you would like to play maybe in a role representing Atatürk, hopefully.
Well, that's come up since the day I arrived in Turkey. It's always fun to play important men in history, and Atatürk is a very powerful, presence in the 20th century. Very important man, and so I continue to say that I'm flattered by thinking about that, but I can only just think about it because there's nothing concrete about what is happening where that's concerned. Just people ask me, it would be nice to play an important person, but I have, because I'm a director, because I produce movies, I know it's very important to get the right actor. And so sometimes, just because I'm popular, it doesn't necessarily mean I would be the right actor for Atatürk. And so because he's so important, it must be a very precise decision.
What is the most difficult thing when you're acting for an actor to do?
To repeat, sometimes you have to do takes over and over. And I find that it's important to make sure that you just don't repeat your success. You try to make a new truth each time so that your emotion is real.
What would you recommend to the actors that they should do? Anything you might advise them?
I hate to be a person that gives advice. I love to help people, but to somehow talk into the camera and give some wisdom, I don't feel, I don't feel like I would say the right thing. I'm happy to know other actors. I think I understand what their struggles are. I understand what why they want to be an actor. So we have the same feelings. So I respect actors around the world.
But you don't want to give any recommendations for directors or actors. How about the directors? Same thing? You didn't know?
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with the Turkish film community, but we share the same love of telling stories.
All right. And how about the music in your life?
Well, the music has just been always with me, and only the last 2 years have I begun to play again publicly. And what's been very gratifying for me, really satisfying, is wherever I've played, people have asked me to come to where they're at to play. They've enjoyed the music. So that's been, I've only played music where I have been asked to come.
But you are a very peaceful person.
A what?
A peaceful person.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
you probably would bring peace everywhere in the world and playing your music, and you're writing your songs also?
Yeah. I think that most people want peace. I know most people that most people want peace. They do. But our world isn't always peaceful, and it confuses people around the world. There are moments when one has to protect themselves, when one has to defend themselves. There's always this moment, but it's always important, you know, that the world moves towards peace, and that takes a wisdom, because sometimes fighting, sometimes the passion and the pride that people have makes them unable to achieve peace, because they don't want to give up something. Someone doesn't want to let go. Someone insists too much on having something. The world is always evolving, and the lines that we draw on the dirt, the lines that you see on the map, they're not on the, when you look at the earth, they're not there.
Of course.
They're not there. People have made them, and they're important. They create definition, but there should not be absolute. And you know, if we are going to achieve peace in your lifetime, in our children's lifetime, we have to possess wisdom, and we have to have a generosity of spirit. And it's easy to fight. Easy to fight. That's always the easiest thing to do. I myself have fought. I understand. That's the easiest. Great courage comes with holding back. And sometimes when a person is out front, a leader, for instance, and all the people behind him are going, fight, fight, fight. It's very difficult for this person to hear, because they're in a position of leadership. And leadership requires not just the moment, but for 50 years. You know, Ataturk was an important man. He had a very big vision. The responsibility of leaders today is different than Ataturk's. It's different. It's to how do we keep the peace? What's the wisdom of keeping peace? And I respect the men who have to make these decisions, and I pray for them that they find their way.
So how can we all prevent this? What do you think we can do?
You have to go inside yourself, and you have to find compassion, and you have to have wisdom to make these decisions, and understand that giving is not weakness. It's not weakness to have compassion. It's not. It's great courage.
I think the most important thing in this world is family and the friendship, and I'm very impressed by you are also taking this, and everybody in Turkey is.
Well, I'm pleased to be here. I'm not a perfect person, but I want to be a better person, and so I try every day. I try to be better. I try to have more understanding.
When you were growing up, you didn't have money. Could you please tell us, and then how much joy you have sharing it with your friends?
Sharing what with the fans?
When you were growing up, you didn't have money. Now that you're sharing it with friends, and
Yeah,
enjoying their
yeah.
company.
I think money is only as good as your ability to share it, you know. If you can help change things a little bit. You can't change everything.
No.
Person can't be responsible for the world. They can be responsible for themselves and for those around them. And sometimes if you've been lucky enough, like I feel like I've been lucky, I have to think, why have I been so lucky? There must be a reason. I'm not smart enough to know what it is, but I'm smart enough to know there must be a reason. And I think it must be that you have to share a little bit.
I think whenever you share it, it gives you more pleasure.
Yeah.
I have a very small gift. It turned out to be a little bit big. This is a Atatürk's book.
Oh,
With pictures would be maybe easier.
right.
And then inside there are plenty pictures. I hope you'll enjoy it. And then this is also another
Thank you.
book on your way back to
I have my
States.
homework.
You do, and maybe you'll hopefully have time to
I feel like a schoolboy then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tahire.
Işıltılar'da bu hafta Türkiye'ye konser vermeye gelen tanınmış aktör Kevin Costner'la beraberdik. Kendisiyle hayatından ve filmlerinden söz ettik. Ben Tahire Demircan, bir sonraki Işıltılar'da görüşmek üzere.